My tribe is people who suffer from depression and for whom the option of suicide is always on the menu.
Now, that's part of a TED Talk by Frank King. He spent 20 years as a writer for Jay Leno, The Tonight Show. Now he focuses on activism, living down in Springfield, Oregon. He's joining us today to talk about the emotional and mental aspects of getting healthy. And in our production meeting, we all, of course, said the same thing. This funny guy sometimes battles not being so happy.
Yes, depression and thoughts of suicide. And by the way, entertainers in general have a higher rate of suicide than the average person in the population. So
the pressures of stage, or what's the connection?
I think it's the wiring. I think part of the creativity, part of the creative process. I think it allowed me for 30 years to be a stand-up comedian. I think it's sort of the upside of the downside of depression is that.
How do you not let that come out in your work? So you're writing for The Tonight Show all these years. How do you keep it funny when inside you're not feeling that way?
Well, we're all good actors. People with mental illness generally are I've got a Screen Actors Guild card for a reason. I'm an amazingly good actor. But because we don't share those feelings and thoughts with people who are neuronormal, because it's very difficult for anybody to conceive of how, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, turn that frown upside down. Two things you should never say to somebody who is clinically depressed.
Or just get over it.
Oh, God, that's my favorite. Just get over it. Here's what you should say to somebody who you believe is depressed or they've been brave enough to tell you. I'm here for you and mean it. I realize you're not lazy, crazy, or self-absorbed. I know that mental illness is an illness, depression, and the good news with time and treatment, things will get better. I'll take the time and mean it and help you get the treatment and mean it.
So it's more than just stress. I'm assuming being a writer for The Tonight Show, that's a daily show. You have to come up with material fast. That's got to be a stressful job.
Again, I think because of my wiring, my brain never shuts down in that way. There's no turn-off valve on the jokes. Funny things occur to me all day long. You see something funny, you hear something funny, you make a note of it, you read the paper, and it's like sculpting. When you're reading the paper, the sculptor will tell you the image is in whatever medium you are working in. You just chip away whatever doesn't look like what you're trying to create. With the newspaper, the jokes are in there. You just have to chip away all the stuff that doesn't look like a joke.
So when you talk to people, I'm assuming, am I right when I say there's a lot of people that probably would like to reach out and get some help but simply aren't doing so?
Yes, and that was the premise of my TED Talk. Start the conversation. Because I've discovered just the mere mention of the words depression and suicide out loud elicit the most amazing responses from people, some of whom I've just met. I feel like the permission fairy. It's like they've just been waiting for somebody to say the magic, or in this case tragic words, depression and suicide, to give voice to their experiences and their feelings around depression, suicide, whatever mental illness. They really want to open up, but you need a safe place to do that.
What works, Frank, in terms of getting someone help who doesn't realize they're depressed? You said you tell them that you're there for them, but what if they don't take you up on the offer to seek help?
Well, there are a lot of reasons people don't. Number one, perhaps, is they don't have the money. They can't afford, don't have health insurance. Yeah. Or perhaps they're concerned about that 3-day involuntary hold. You tell somebody that you're depressed and that you're having thoughts of suicide and that you have a plan and it's detailed, you may find yourself in a 3-day involuntary hold.
You mean in a hospital?
In a hospital, yes. Or and there's a stigma attached to depression and suicide. It's sort of the last taboo to say out loud. Sure. Alcoholism 60 years ago, drug addiction was a character flaw, a moral failing. And mental illness is kind of right there. People know it's an illness, but there's still that.
Well, I mean, do you see any, this person does this person's lifestyle leads them here. Do you see any connecting dots as to why this person and this person both have gone down the struggle of depression?
I think that's I think you're wired that way. And then my grandmother died by suicide, her great aunt died by suicide, and my mother and I found my great aunt. So the family, it's called generational depression and suicide. Our family's already hardwired for it. Then if you're that close to an actual suicide, it ups the ante. I mean, I have thoughts of suicide for the simplest things. Car broke down, I thought, well, I could get it fixed, I could buy a new one, or I could just kill myself. That just pops into my head. That's in my entire family, it's that way, because we are, again, that generational depression and suicide. Signs to look for: has trouble getting up in the morning, rallies in the afternoon, eats too much, can't eat, sleeps too much, can't sleep, doesn't take joy in usual, the social activities they once took joy in.
I don't want to get too personal, but what has been the key for you to stay on the upside of things?
Well, I'm now on medication. Mm-hmm. Again, with time and treatment, things will get better. I came very close in 2010, the recession, to ending my life. And a couple of months went by, I kind of broke the surface, and you know, with medication and therapy, then I felt like I could go on. Here's the miss sort of information or the urban legend. Somebody said to me, I can't believe life got so bad that they wanted to end their life. And I said, well, what you don't understand is they didn't necessarily want to end their life. They just wanted to end the pain. If they could end the pain and come back the next day, perfect.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kathy.
No, I'm just curious, before we let you go, you know, your time with The Tonight Show, we would be remiss if we didn't ask you for some inside scoop on Jay Leno and the gang and how the process worked. Was he very much part of what you did as a writer?
Yeah, everybody's working with the same source material. They're watching the news or reading newspapers, so everybody has the same source material. So you had to compete to get the best joke on that topic. And Jay would go to the Hermosa Beach Comedy Magic Club with index cards and run the jokes by the audience.
Really?
Pitch the ones that weren't and keep the ones that weren't. That's how he road tested the joke.
So you just have to hope that your joke lasted, right?
Yeah, it was like kind of like winning the lottery. When he picked yours, yes!
So, Frank, I know that you have a website, is that right? That we can get more information?
It's a long keyword phrase, thesuicidepreventionspeaker.com.
And I think
SuicidePreventionSpeaker.com.
And there's a National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which I think we're going to have on our Facebook page, 800-273-8255. But good information. Nice to meet you.
Stay happy.
Yeah,
you
stay
seem
healthy.
like you're doing very well. All right, nice to meet you, Frank.